People often regard 50 Cent as one of the most strategic minds in hip-hop, and Wack100 learned that firsthand. Tony Yayo didn't hold back either. According to him, G-Unit never needed to check in with anyone, plain and simple. He described them as a fully prepared, almost militant crew, always on point regardless of which city they were in. As for 50 himself, he's always been clear about his mindset. He comes from an environment where you don't have the luxury to prepare. You have to stay ready at all times.
You got the drop on 50 Cent one time?
We thought we did until we got in there. Mike called us, told he was up there. I got up there. We got up there, we came in and strapped to their thigh, bullies on them, semis on them, magazine cartridges. I said, yeah, he ain't slipping.
Today's not the day.
Nah. 50 moved different. He moved different.
And did 50
I'm glad
see
that
you?
didn't happen though. He see me. But he didn't know that's what we was on. We never approached him. I'm glad it never happened.
That line wasn't just for show, it was the truth. So when Wack100 tried to put pressure on 50 Cent, thinking he could intimidate him, he had no idea what he was getting himself into. Here's what happened. Wack was doing his usual loud talking on Clubhouse when out of nowhere, he started telling a wild story about 50 Cent. He brought things back to the days when 50 was still feuding with The Game, who had previously rolled with G-Unit. Since Wack was managing The Game at that time, he tried to step in like he was in control. According to Wack, he thought he could confront 50 directly at his hotel, no less. He said someone tipped him off that 50 was hanging at the SLS Hotel in Los Angeles, relaxing at the bar. So Wack pulled up with a crew of 10, thinking he was making a serious power move.
Told us that, not trying to throw shots at him. Sure. But you could not do nothing to him.
But the moment they walked in, the atmosphere was instantly tense. That's when Wack said it hit him 50 wasn't alone, not even close. He was surrounded by a crew that looked like they had military training. 8 men standing firm, calm, and fully alert. Wack even admitted he'd never forget the move 50 made that day. According to him, it was a next level play. And honestly, he sounded shaken just recounting it. Bottom line, 50 had already anticipated everything Wack had walked straight into, a setup without realizing it. He later said the guys with 50 weren't your average security. They moved like a tactical unit, armed and scanning the room like they were expecting action at any moment.
You got the drop on 50 Cent one time?
We thought we did.
Right.
We thought we did. Until we got in there.
That's when reality set in. 50 wasn't surprised at all. If anything, it looked like he orchestrated the whole thing to show who really runs things. But here's where it gets questionable. A lot of people saw Wack's hotel visit as more than just a face-to-face. It looked like an attempt to extort 50, especially since 50 never checked in when he arrived in La, and Wack constantly pushes the idea that checking in is the standard. He tries to make it sound casual, saying, it's just about giving a heads up when you're in town, acting like it's no big deal. He even says he checks in himself when traveling.
Mike called us, told he was up there. I got up here. He came in.
How deep were you?
About 15.
15 people.
Yeah, we wasn't that deep.
He'll casually say, might be down there Friday, like it's nothing. But anyone familiar with the street scene knows exactly what that means. In the rap world, especially in cities with deep gang affiliations, checking in isn't just friendly communication. It means contacting local figures and making sure they're okay with your presence. And let's be honest, there's usually a cost. Sometimes it's money, other times it's a verse on a local track or favors that never see the spotlight. Whatever the local power wants, that's the price. Some people frame it as showing respect, like, hey, I'm in your city, all love. But if it's really all love, why do threats surface when someone doesn't check in? In La, some artists play that game, teaming up with gangs for protection. It's like a street insurance policy. But not everyone goes that route. And 50 Cent, he's made it clear he doesn't play by those rules. But here's the twist, Wack100 wasn't the only one who tried to step to 50. Suge Knight came for him too. Yes, that Suge Knight. This tension dates back to before 50 even blew up. It started when Dr. Dre left Death Row to build his own legacy. Suge took that move personally. Then Dre brought Eminem into the mix. And when M signed 50 under Aftermath, it was like lighting a fuse. Suge had long-standing beef with Dre, and by extension, that heat extended to M and 50. Suge didn't just let the past go. He kept that energy alive, always on the edge, always ready to make waves. One of the most intense moments The Inda Club video shoot. Everything was going smooth, cameras rolling, good vibes until someone shouted, "Suge Knight is here." That one sentence flipped everything. Suge didn't roll in solo either. He showed up with around 30 people, and word is many of them had ties to a known Mexican gang. It was intimidation, plain and simple. Classic Suge. He didn't have to say a word. His presence alone sent the message loud and clear.
We got up there, we came in and shit. You had Navy SEALs with it. 2 in all directions. Probably about 6 of them.
People started scrambling. 50 and his team stepped outside, ready for whatever was coming. Suge was notorious for these bold entrances, showing up unannounced, drawing attention, and sending silent messages just through his presence. But that wasn't the end of the drama. Things really escalated at the 2000 for Vibe Awards. The night was meant to honor hip-hop's biggest legends. Dr. Dre was slated to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award, with Snoop Dogg and Quincy Jones presenting. It was shaping up to be a monumental moment for the culture.
Respect to Eminem, 50, and that was with us. So Suge came, he had some Mexican niggas. Now we from New York. You ain't never seen a nigga with a tattoo on his forehead. Slice the cigar, and it's the shit about Suge. He liked the cigar, and he was trying to see what you gonna do.
Then suddenly, everything flipped. A man named Jimmy James Johnson approached Dr. Dre as if he wanted an autograph. But instead, he landed a sucker punch right on Dre in front of everyone. Within moments, chaos erupted. Screams filled the air. Chairs were flying, and the crowd rushed for the exits like a full-on riot had broken out. Right in the middle of that mess was young Buck. Reports say Buck pulled out a blade and started swinging. It later came out that he allegedly stabbed Johnson while trying to protect Dre from getting jumped. Buck wasn't alone either. A crowd rushed Johnson before things finally calmed down. The incident turned into a legal mess. Arrest warrants issued and Buck facing charges for the stabbing. So, was Suge Knight behind the whole thing? No one knows for certain, but the streets definitely had their suspicions. Tony Yayo even recalled that right after the chaos broke out, he saw Suge Knight and Irv Gotti casually walking past the G-Unit trailer like nothing had happened, as if they were just enjoying the show. That made a lot of people suspicious. Suge and Irv strolling through the mayhem didn't seem random. It felt like they knew something was coming. And 50? He wasn't about to be caught off guard. As soon as he sensed things weren't right, he made a quick call. He told his people to hit up local stores and buy knives. That's how serious it got. The energy was off, and 50 trusted his instincts. And clearly, he wasn't wrong. After everything settled, Tony Yayo was sentenced to 3 years probation and ordered to complete 80 hours of community service for his involvement. That whole ordeal served as a sharp reminder: 50 Cent doesn't take chances with safety. He's always a few steps ahead and doesn't rely on flashy security. He surrounds himself with people who have real street sense, loyalty, and no hesitation when it comes to handling threats.
You can see a shiny knife in his right hand. He lunges over the top with a stabbing motion. Police say that is 23-year-old young Buck, who then vanished.
One name that always stood out: Monster. If you know, you know. Monster wasn't just a big guy standing nearby, he was 50's enforcer, his protector, the quiet force always present, always alert. Wherever 50 went, Monster was close, constantly, watching, assessing the environment, moving like a shadow. But don't test him. He didn't talk tough, he didn't need to. His presence alone shifted the mood in any room. No interviews, no need for attention, just silent, calculated moves. That's why there's not much public info about him. But if you've ever seen old clips from 50's club events or behind-the-scenes footage, you've probably spotted Monster hovering nearby. There's even a moment caught at an airport with paparazzi flashing lights in 50's face, and Monster is right there, blocking the cameras and securing the space like a pro. Whenever 50 hit a venue or stepped on stage, Monster was in position, eyes scanning, always ready in case anyone tried anything. One especially tense moment was during 50's on stage clash with Trav. Monster didn't flinch. He was locked in, ready to act without a word. For years, he was 50's human shield, steady, alert, never off his game. And get this, there were even rumors that 50 had a video taken down from a major YouTube channel, Infamines, because it allegedly showed something Monster did on his behalf. Whatever was in that clip, 50 clearly didn't want it circulating.
I wouldn't say we were scared, but it was the Vibe Awards when we seen Suge Knight and Irv Gotti, and they walked past the trailer.
Infamines built their reputation by releasing deep dive street documentaries, and one particular video struck a chord. It claimed to reveal how 50 Cent's real security team operated, especially the hidden role of a man named Monster, who allegedly acted as his personal enforcer. And they didn't just scratch the surface, they went in with detail.
50 just look at James Cruz, so he just tapped James Cruz and said, yo, go buy 20 knives. Yeah, just go to the hardware store. It was about 20 to 15 of us, something like that. Suge Knight got like some crazy looking, Compton looking dudes with him, you know what I'm saying?
The video didn't just mention Monster, it showed real photos of him with 50 in multiple situations, breaking everything down. According to the content, Monster was the one truly maintaining control behind the scenes. But the part that really drew attention was the video's claim that it uncovered a crime linked to 50 Cent. It reportedly detailed the entire conflict between 50 and Slowbucks at Hot 97's Summer Jam into a 1/4, the same event where Slowbucks was attacked and his chain was snatched on stage in front of the crowd. Infamines laid it all out step by step, identifying where everyone was and how it unfolded. They didn't pull any punches, and 50 Cent wasn't having it. Word spread that he personally contacted Infamines and demanded the video be taken down. Shortly after, it vanished from the platform. That led many to ask if there was nothing questionable. Why work so hard to erase it? Monster's loyalty to 50 Cent came with serious consequences. Protecting him wasn't just about standing nearby, it meant getting involved in high-risk situations, sometimes violent, sometimes chaotic, and often with legal repercussions. Monster faced multiple assault charges over the years, mostly for confronting people who got too close to 50. One of the most talked about incidents happened in 2010 in Copenhagen, Denmark. Monster was charged with assault after allegedly attacking two photographers outside the upscale hotel, St. Petri.
Monster like the smallest, biggest security I ever know. Like his presence is big as fuck.
The New York Daily News even covered the incident. One of the photographers, Nicolo Era, told Radar Online that things escalated quickly. He claimed a member of 50E security approached them and told them to leave. Then, according to Era, he grabbed my throat and tried to strangle me. I couldn't breathe. He took my camera and deleted my photos.
What up, 50?
Yo, what up, 50? What up, man? How are you? So, 50, real quick.
Monster wasn't just present, he was proactive, ensuring no one got near 50 Cent, even if it meant crossing legal boundaries. That event made international news and highlighted the extreme measures he was willing to take. Whether the threat was real or just aggressive photography, Monster treated every moment like it could be critical.
Hold on. Y'all better stop this.
Era wasn't silent about it either. He made it clear he intended to go straight to law enforcement and file a report. He wanted the incident documented properly. But it also raised a bigger question: why does 50 Cent always keep such heavy security? Some mock it, saying he moves like a head of state or even hires off-duty police. They call it over the top. Others see it as necessary. When you've lived through what 50 Cent has, safety becomes non-negotiable. This is a man who survived 9 gunshots. That kind of trauma leaves a lasting impact. One name that continues to surface when talking about 50 Cent's past is Supreme McGriff. Back in the 1980s, Supreme was a dominant figure in Queens. He founded the infamous Supreme Team, a gang that controlled Jamaica, Queens during its peak.
Hey, this is 50 though.
They weren't just street dealers, they built an empire. The Baisley Park houses, where Supreme got his start, became a central hub. His crew was hundreds strong, and the numbers were staggering. Reports say they were bringing in about $200,000 a day from the crack trade. They had total control. But it all started to fall apart in 1987 when McGriff was sentenced to 12 years in prison. He got out on parole in 1994, but didn't stay free long. By the end of that same year, he was back in jail. It wasn't until 1997 that he finally caught a break. Some charges were dropped and he returned to the streets, this time aiming to break into the music business. He was trying to change lanes, but his past kept following him. That's when Supreme connected with Ja Rule. He became one of the label's main street protectors, keeping artists safe and making sure no trouble got close. T first, there was no issue between 50 Cent and Supreme. Back then, 50 was still on the come up, working hard to get noticed. Meanwhile, Ja Rule was already charting hits. To grab attention and shake things up, 50 released his bold track How to Rob, where he called out nearly everyone in the industry. That's when tension started to build. Then came the full-blown feud with Ja Rule. According to 50, it all started after his associate Troy allegedly robbed Ja. Later, when 50 ran into Ja at a club, he tried to smooth things over, but Ja wasn't open to it. He believed 50 was part of the setup. Ja later admitted the robbery happened, but claimed he didn't recognize 50 as being involved. I didn't even know, Ja said, but by then, the damage was done. The beef had already begun to escalate.
This is what Info Minds did. He would show pictures of 50 Cent, different pictures of 50 Cent in regular settings, right? Until Info Minds highlighted this guy that was in like every picture.
That's when Supreme stepped in and told 50 to fall back and leave Ja Rule alone. And since 50 once looked up to him, he respected the advice for a moment. But 50 kept calling people out in his music. He wasn't about to stay quiet just because someone told him to stop. Then in 1999, things took a tragic turn. Both 50 and Supreme lost someone close. Black Just, a mutual friend, was killed. Word on the street is it started with a dispute over a car. Rapper E-Money Bags had reportedly given Supreme a down payment, but when he asked for a refund, Supreme laughed it off. Bags didn't take it lightly. One day, he allegedly caught Supreme off guard. Supreme was riding in a car with Black Just when gunshots rang out. Just was hit twice, including once in the thigh. But instead of taking him directly to a nearby hospital, Supreme drove back to the neighborhood and asked someone else to take Just in. That delay may have cost him his life. After that, E-Money Bags made powerful enemies. The situation wasn't just heated, it turned deadly. Meanwhile, the feud between 50 Cent and Ja Rule continued to intensify. Supreme stayed loyal to Ja and kept pushing 50 to let it go. But 50 wasn't interested. He didn't like how Supreme kept siding with Ja, especially since he felt disrespected from the beginning. And truthfully, Supreme never believed 50 was the next big thing. He already had Ja Rule bringing in real money, so switching sides wasn't an option. Then things escalated to a whole new level. One night, 50 and Ja Rule performed at the same club and chaos broke out. A major fight erupted. By the end of it, 50 had Ja Rule's chain in hand. He later showed it off like a trophy in his Life's on the Line music video.
Serious video that vanished from Info Minds channel was about none other 50 Cent.
That move publicly embarrassed Ja Rule across the entire industry. Naturally, he turned to Supreme, hoping he could help recover the chain, but Supreme had had enough. This was already the second time he had to step in and fix his problems. And now 50 was mocking his reputation in front of everyone. Supreme was tired of being stuck in the middle. Meanwhile, 50 had no plans to slow down. His mission to dismantle Murder Inc. was in full motion, and his relationship with Supreme quickly deteriorated. Tony Yeo once shared a story about one of the final encounters between 50 and Supreme face-to-face, full of tension. 50 didn't back down or show fear. He stood his ground. And then 50 escalated things even further. He started spending time with some major street figures, E-Money Bags, Big Nose Troy, and Green-Eyed Born. All of them had long-standing issues with Supreme. Just being seen with those names was a direct message, and it raised the stakes significantly. At that point, it wasn't just about beefing with Ja Rule anymore. 50 was challenging the entire foundation that Murder Inc. was built on. Then came the track that sent shockwaves through the streets, Ghetto Quran. The song linked 50 to the legendary street figures of New York, and the name that stood out most was Supreme. When Supreme heard it, he wasn't pleased, according to 50 other rappers had referenced Supreme in songs before, even talked about his legacy, and Supreme welcomed the recognition. But when 50 dropped names in Ghetto Quran, the tone shifted. Supreme didn't take it as a tribute, he saw it as being exposed. That moment strained their already fragile connection beyond repair. Some in the streets viewed Ghetto Quran as a nod of respect and acknowledgement of the real players who shaped the city. But Supreme didn't see it that way. He believed 50 had crossed a line, revealing too much. And he wasn't going to ignore it. Not long after the track was released, someone attempted to kill Supreme at a gas station. He survived, but after that, he was out for payback. Rumors began to spread that Supreme believed 50 was somehow involved in the attempted hit. That's when things turned deadly serious. Supreme allegedly took action. He brought in Daryl Homo Baum, a feared street figure who had once worked as Mike Tyson's personal bodyguard. The story goes that Supreme put serious money on the table and told Homo to take care of it. The target, 50 Cent.
Remember that shit that happened to Slow Bucks on that stage? Info Mind's documentary had footage from that Slow Buck situation. He was highlighting niggas and shit.
Then came May 24th, 2000, the day everything changed. 50 had just left his grandmother's house. His young son was still inside, and his grandmother was sitting out front. As 50 got into the backseat of a car, another vehicle pulled up suddenly. A man approached the window and fired 9 shots from a 9mm pistol. No words, no warning. Just gunfire.it was a hit meant to end his life. But against all odds, 50 survived. He was shot in the hand, arm, hip, both legs, chest, and even once in the left cheek. One bullet missed a major artery by inches. Had it struck higher, it could have been fatal. But somehow, he pulled through. After 3 tough weeks in the hospital and multiple surgeries, 50 lived. That moment became one of the most iconic survival stories in hip-hop history. 3 years later, 50 released Many Men, a powerful track that shook the industry. In the lyrics, he revealed that Homo was the shooter. By then, Homo was already gone, reportedly killed in a separate street conflict unrelated to 50. The streets were ruthless, and karma moved quickly. While 50 managed to survive, some of his enemies didn't. In July 2001, E-Money Bags was found dead inside his Lincoln Navigator, another name taken off the board. Some saw it as revenge for Black Just Death. Others linked it to a robbery allegedly involving Irv Gotti and Ja Rule. Either way, the streets were buzzing. Then came Big Nose Troy, another key figure. Just 3 months after Bags, Troy was gunned down as well. Back-to-back killings sent a clear message. The city was on edge, and the rising body count was impossible to ignore.
50 up there. Cream Duke, you know the old school shit. You know what 50 did? Yeah, my nigga.
Do it back, yeah.
Yeah, my nigga.
That's,
oh, you know what the block did?
Yeah, that's what
By 2002, law enforcement had seen enough. They moved in and arrested Kenneth Supreme McGriff on several murder charges. During the investigation, Supreme even pointed to 50 Cent's Ghetto Quran, suggesting it could be used as evidence. But when detectives questioned 50 about the lyrics, he didn't budge. His only response, just listen to the record. Meanwhile, Murder Inc. was under serious pressure. By 2003, Irv Gotti was deep in legal trouble, and in 2005, he was officially charged with allegedly laundering money for Supreme. That case sent shockwaves through the entire label, and many believed it was the beginning of the end. But Gotti beat the charges. The jury found him not guilty on all counts, and he walked free. Supreme, on the other hand, wasn't as fortunate. The court came down hard. He was convicted of drug trafficking, racketeering, and murder in federal court. Just like that, one of the most feared figures in the streets was taken out permanently. Prosecutors had solid evidence testimony from a known hitman, damaging text messages and surveillance footage. They proved Supreme had paid $50,000 for contract killings. When the law finally hit, it was like a wrecking ball. Everything connected to McGriff and Irv Gotti was seized. By the end, Supreme didn't even have enough money to hire his own lawyer. He had to go with a court-appointed one. On April 9, 2007, it was over. He was sentenced to life in prison. One of the most respected and feared street players was removed from the game for good. The attempt on 50 Cent's life didn't just grab headlines, it changed everything. Before the shooting, people respected his talent and hustle. But after surviving 9 bullets, 50 became more than a rapper. He became a legend, a symbol of survival and resilience. That moment elevated his story and left a permanent mark on hiphop.so. When people criticize 50 for always having heavy security, they miss the bigger point. It's not about fear, it's about staying sharp and protecting yourself. After all he's faced, staying guarded isn't a weakness, it's just smart. 50 understands the game too well to ever let his guard down again. If you appreciated this deep dive, you already know how intense this story really is. Don't forget to leave a comment, hit that like button, subscribe for more real stories, and send this video to someone who needs to see it. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.